Funny things happen to you as an airport economist. Recently I was in London with the new South Australian Premier, Jay Weatherill. We dined with the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Will and Kate, to invite them to South Australia. And the next night we went to a university function at Festival Hall in South Bank. There, by chance, we met Sacha Baron Cohen, the British comedian, playing the dictator in his new movie. He was brought into Festival Hall in an orange Lamborghini, flanked by 40 security guards, female security guards, and his Lamborghini was actually being towed. When I got out of the limousine with the Premier, I said, "Gee, Jay, you're popular in London," before we realised it was actually the premiere of Sacha Baron Cohen's new movie, The Dictator. I managed to say to Sacha Baron Cohen, "I'm going to Kazakhstan next week," because I was. And he said, "Say hello to my friend Borat. He's a journalist in Kazakhstan." He said it in character, of course, referring to Borat, the movie made by Sacha Baron Cohen about Kazakhstan. Well, I did go to Kazakhstan the next week, and what struck me was how unlike the Kazakhstan of Borat, the Borat movie, was compared to the actual Kazakhstan, and that was something not lost on the local Kazakh population. When I went to Kazakhstan to the Astana Economic Forum via Almaty, I noticed that Kazakhstan was actually almost like journeying to the centre of the earth, in fact to the centre of Asia. It's what Nouriel Roubini calls a pivotal state, being close to Europe, to the Middle East, particularly Turkey, Russia and China. It's right in the centre of some of the great powers of the world in Central Asia. One of the Kazakh delegates at the conference said to me, "Well, we're unusual. We look East Asian. We speak Russian or a variation of it, but we're Muslim and we have a lot of influence, particularly from Turkey. We really could not understand why Borat made that movie about us when the movie seemed to be made in Albania or Romania. Nothing like the true Kazakhstan." In fact, Kazakhstan's position as a pivotal state was the reason why the president of Kazakhstan set up the Astana Economic Forum, which in many ways he wanted to set up as a Davos of Central Asia. Like the Davos meetings at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, he wanted to set up a major economic conference that brought the world's leaders together, along with a number of leading Nobel Prize winners. For instance, at the Astana Economic Forum, there was Robert Mundell, the father of the euro, Robert Orman, the Israeli father of game theory, Christopher Pissarides, the new Nobel Prize winner in economics for his work on labour economics, and of course John Nash, who was the mathematician that developed the Nash-Cournot equilibrium model, but is also better known for the person played by Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind. Anyway, he brought all these people to Kazakhstan to discuss the differences between Europe and Asia in terms of economic performance, what's going on with the euro, what's going on with Greece, and also basically want to strategically position Kazakhstan as a key player in Central Asia as a former Soviet republic. What's interesting about the discussion in Astana is that whilst all the focus was on Europe and on Greece, Kazakhstan seemed to me to have much more in common with Asia, and in some ways had a lot of similarities with Australia. And I was one of only 2 Australian economists at the forum. Kazakhstan is actually a vast country like Australia with great natural resources. It holds 30% of the world's chrome, it holds 25% of manganese in the world and 10% of the world's iron ore. It has uranium, it has gold, it has copper, it has nickel, it has oil and gas. It's almost like a super Broken Hill, Mount Isa, Northwest Shelf, Roxby Downs all rolled into one. And there have been new finds now in the Caspian Sea in oil and gas, which means that Kazakhstan now enjoys a 7.5% economic growth rate, low inflation of around 5% for the region, and a current account surplus. The World Bank report recently said that Kazakhstan was now outstripping Russia, China, the Czech Republic and the Ukraine as a place to do business. It has very strong reserves and is increasingly being more open to the world. It currently has a customs union with Russia and Belarus, but while I was in Astana, it was undertaking accession talks with the World Trade Organization to become part of the world trading system. But while there's some good news in Kazakhstan, there is some bad news as well. There are difficulties in terms of the institutions that they're developing. They're short on logistics and project management skills, and in many ways, as a legacy of being a former Soviet republic, they've built up very strong technical and engineering skills, but are lacking some management of human capital skills. And that's where companies from Australia, like Macquarie, like BHP Billiton, and even the law firm Baker McKenzie are now setting up in Kazakhstan to help them develop. One thing in Kazakhstan's favour though is it has a very young, well-educated, cosmopolitan population, including many young women who are now at university studying science and economics. Kazakhstan is actually a very diverse place, unlike what we saw in the Borat movie. It has a number of ethnic Russians, a number of ethnic Turks, and many different diverse cosmopolitan ethnicities within Kazakhstan, as well as the local population. Young people were turned off by Borat, but a Dutch tourism analyst at the Astana Economic Forum actually showed that since the Borat movie had come into play, tourism to Kazakhstan had actually boomed. So when you have a country brand, it's good to have it, and it really allowed Kazakhstan to get ahead of the pack amongst the Central Asian republics. I didn't meet Borat or Sacha Baron Cohen in Kazakhstan, but I did meet Tony Blair. The former British Prime Minister was one of the other speakers at the Astana Economic Forum. In fact, Tony Blair and I were probably the only speakers who didn't have a Nobel Prize in economics, so we felt quite uneducated. When I talked to Tony Blair, he spoke very highly of the role that Australia had played in the world economy, and particularly in Asia, and he thought that Australia indeed could provide a lot of information and a lot of relevant economic lessons for places like Kazakhstan. So when you meet Borat in London and Tony Blair in Kazakhstan, even for an airport economist, it's a pretty small world after all.